Okay, thanks everyone for joining me tonight. And um, let's see. Okay, for our online travel education tonight, we are going to talk about Azamara Cruises, and we're going to go over who is Azamara, what ships they have because they've only got one class of ships, what an Azamara cruise is like, and the pros and cons of an Azamara cruise. So who is Azamara? They are fully owned by the Royal Caribbean Group. In 2007, they were created as a subsidiary of Celebrity Cruises. So they are an upmarket venture of Celebrity Cruises. They wanted to get into the smaller cruises, a little bit more all-inclusive, which now Celebrity is going to do. Small ships, 700 passengers maximum. And they are, as I mentioned, mostly inclusive. There are a few things that you will pay for out of pocket, but a lot of things are included. And I would classify them as more comfortable luxury. I don't picture being on them and wearing a tuxedo and a ball gown. In fact, I don't think Bill even brought a suit coat when we were on Azamara before. He might have to go up to the specialty dining one night, but the most dressed up I got was at the chef's table. This is a picture of the Azamara journey when we were in Bermuda at night. So they do have three ships: the Azamara Journey, Azamara Quest, and Azamara Pursuit. The Pursuit is the newest one to come online with them. And they've all been renovated recently. $17.5 million revitalization. They were built in 2000 and 2001. And they're identical ships. There's only a couple differences, and when Azamara Pursuit was brought back, or was brought to the Azamara fleet, they renovated her, and she did not have a casino where the other two did. And they are going towards removing the casinos in the other two because the casinos were actually very small. So the casino area in Pursuit is a little bit different than the other two, but basically they're all the same ship. These ships were all built by Renaissance Cruise Lines way back in 2000. They were the R-class ships, and these ones were number 6, 7, and 8. So that you can draw an inference that there's another 5 other ships that are identical to these ships, and that would be true. Her sister ships are the Pacific Princess and Oceana's Insignia, Serena, Regatta, and Nautica. They're all going to have basically the same layout inside, but of course they've all done the ships their own way. So the rooms are slightly different sizes, different layout, but for the most part they're going to be very similar. In fact, Azamara Pursuit, before she was a Pursuit, I'm going to draw a blank here. It was the Carnival Cruise Line Endeavor going to Cuba and Haiti when they did those sailings. The Adania, I think, was the name of the ship. And before that, she was owned by P&O Cruises. And so here's the pool deck on the right side is the Quest, and the left side is the Journey. They're basically the same, and we were pulling into Cuba on the Quest in this picture. And now I'm just going to show you some pictures of the interior of the ship. This is called the living room. Basically, it's a gathering area. They have entertainment there at night. There's a bar there. They'll do trivia during the day. It's just a comfortable space at the front of the ship. They also do high tea in there, and yeah, and have the DJ and bands in there. So what's an Azamara cruise like? It's a very personal experience. The crew to guest ratio is very high. Um, you really got to know the crew members on board. Service is very good as well. And I think that's just naturally with smaller ships and with that higher crew to guest ratio, you get a lot better service. It was very comfortable. Like I said, I didn't feel like we had to dress up a lot, and it definitely not stuffy. This is the library. At the back of the ship, there's a library that's quite large, and it's right in between the two specialty restaurants, which are Prime Sea and Aquilina. These are included if you're staying in a club level or above. You can dine in the specialty restaurants every night if you want. There is a charge if you're staying in the standard accommodations, however. And this is the buffet. And the interesting thing about the buffet is they still have waiters in there, and they will come and carry your plates back for you. In the evening, they do have a different themed ethnic buffet every single night. So, you know, some of you on Disney, you know that they'll have a different theme for lunch, but these guys do it at dinner time. So if you don't really like what's on the menu in the main dining room, or you're not going to specialty dining, you can go and get a different ethnic meal in Windows Cafe each night. And this is the main dining room. It's all open seating. The only line we've ever had there is if we've gotten there before it opened. And this is the atrium area and the theater. So as you can see, the theater is much smaller than you're used to on larger ships. And so as a result, the shows are also a little bit, they're not as elaborate as on a large ship. And here's some pictures of some of the cabins. This was our bathroom. So this is one of the downfalls of some of the older ships, is you do tend to have smaller rooms. These were standard accommodations. They were comfortable. I wouldn't say that they definitely weren't anywhere close to the largest rooms we've had on the ship, but they were very comfortable. And this is the bathroom on the Club Continent suite. This is the entry-level suite. So a lot more space in this room, and the bathroom's considerably larger. And these are a couple pictures from the spa suite, and some pictures from one of the top suites. Now, the pros and cons of an Azamara cruise. As usual, you can go both ways as far as pros and cons with each one of these. The ship size is great for getting into smaller ports of call that a lot of the bigger ships can't get to. They do tend to go a lot closer to the cities, especially in Europe, where some of the cruise lines have to, like, for example, in St. Petersburg, it's about 45 minutes away from town, but Azamara can get in right into town. And because of having the closer locations, they also tend to stay in port a lot later than the other cruise lines. There's fewer venues, of course, on the ship because of the smaller size, and they don't always have as many options as some of the larger ships do. Entertainment is, it's different on a small ship, definitely. Some of the shows were interesting shows. They did have, you know, comedians, um, different musicians that would come in, and um, we had a harp player one time on board. They did do some small shows, but they weren't anything really elaborate. I'm specifically thinking of the last night when they did some dancing queen dances and with roller skates involved. And yeah, it was a little different, but, and they did some port talks in there as well. They had a pianist that was there every night playing, and I believe there's a guitarist too in one of the other venues at times. So a little bit more subdued entertainment. They do offer a lot of trivia, just like all the other Royal Caribbean brands. So that's why they get my vote. Um, they're mostly inclusive. Your gratuities are included. Your basic beverage package is always included. So as long as you're ordering something that's on the basic package, and by basic, your general drinks, you're just not going to get your top shelf alcohol on that. You can just go to the bar. You never have to show a key card. You just order and they give it to you, and nothing to sign, nothing like that at all. The specialty dining you do pay extra for unless you're staying in a club suite. Your shore excursions you would pay extra for. They do include the non-alcoholic beverages that are in your mini bar are included. They bring in bottled water every day, flowers in your room, a fruit basket in your room. They don't put towel animals on your bed, but they don't have pre-packaged chocolates that they put on your pillow, but they do make you a homemade treat every night that they put at turn down service. The room size, as I mentioned before, the rooms tend to be a little bit on the smaller side. The shower in particular is pretty tiny in a standard room. But they do also include, as far as entertainment, they have something on most voyages called the Azamazing Evening. And this is a special shore excursion in one port of call where everyone's invited to come, and they arrange the transportation there, and it's always something very special. For us, we had it when we were in Jamaica. We were supposed to be in Falmouth, and then the winds were too strong. We couldn't port there. So we ended up going over to Montego Bay, and because they did not want us to miss the Azamazing Evening. And they rearranged all the transportation and everything to get us to the Good Hope Estate. When we got there, we were met with local beverages and food. And then we were treated to a concert by a Grammy Award winning reggae band. And then they had fireworks for us, and then transported us all back to the ship where glasses of champagne and truffles were waiting for us as we walked on the ship. And then we had a different treat in our room once we got there. So it's always something really special. It's always something more on the exclusive side, and definitely something to talk about. Now, a shorter sailing does not have an Azamazing Evening, and transatlantic sailing does not either, but otherwise most of their sailings do. They also have a white night party once a night, or one night during your cruise. They have a lot of crew members that do entertainment there. They usually have a Congo line going all around the pool deck, lots of food. And this was just a picture when we were in Bermuda on the white night party. And this was a picture of the journey when we were at Lavadie. And one thing I wanted to mention that is also that I realized when we first started this, I forgot to put it in my presentation. one of the things that I really like about working with Azamara and the Royal Caribbean Group is they do have reciprocity in a way. So if you are cruising on Royal Caribbean and you get to a certain level, you can transfer that level over to Celebrity. You can also do the same with Celebrity back to Royal Caribbean. So when you get to I believe it is the second level on Royal Caribbean, you come in at the equivalent in Celebrity. You'll keep earning separately to different levels with the two companies. With Azamara, it's a little bit different. You do the same thing between Royal, but with Celebrity, you earn at the same rate. So if you come in as a brand new cruiser on Azamara, and you've never cruised on Celebrity before, when you go to your next sailing and go to Celebrity, all the points that you accumulated on your Azamara cruises will still be on your Celebrity Captain's Club and vice versa. So we started out, we cruised with Celebrity, went over to Azamara, our very first sailing on Azamara, we were repeat cruisers. And then when we went on our transatlantic, we earned enough points that moved us to the next level. And now the next time we go over to Celebrity, we will be at the next level with them as well. If it was with Royal, we would come in at that level, but then we can't advance to the next level until we've earned the points to get us to the level that we're at. We're always treated at that level, but we don't move up until we reach the level legitimately. With Azamara and Celebrity, you earn 1-to-1 and you keep going on both of them. So as soon as you get to the select level, you're select on both of them, and then you go up to the next level and it goes to that with both of them. You're not trying to catch up at any time. So that's kind of nice. It gives you an opportunity to earn more repeater perks with both of them, and it allowed us to get to the next level a little bit faster with Celebrity by going on 3 sailings with Azamara. So that was kind of nice. But that's pretty much what I have. So I wanted to open it up to any questions. Tanya, do you have anything you want to add about Azamara?
How long was our cruise? 11 days?
11, 10? Yeah.
11, which is a good while to enjoy the ship. I remember the food being excellent. I enjoyed the buffets for dinner. They had really good Indian food and Italian food, and I don't really remember eating in the dining room that much. Did we?
I think we ate there.
We did a lot of specialty dining.
Yeah, we ate there 2 nights, and we did specialty dining at least 2 nights, and we did all the chef's tables.
Yeah, so I don't remember the main dining room that much. We ate lunch there several times, and they had and breakfast. They had like themes and things. Eating on deck, they had special. You could like a grill where they would stuff there, but then they would cook you whatever you wanted. They had a little menu and they bring it out to you. So that was nice.
Yeah, I didn't mention the grill. The grill was interesting because, you know, when you go to some grills, or some buffets outside, it's serve yourself. It wasn't that way at all, except for the salad bar. They would take your order and you would have a waiter come and bring you out your cheeseburger or hot dog and
chicken,
and they would have other things in the evening that were a little bit fancier, so you'd have something else. That a lot of complimentary dining. You wouldn't always have to go to the main dining room or to specialty and still get different things.
Lots of trivia, which makes Tracy a happy girl. But they did also where if you participated, you had was it a card, and you get participation points, and at the end you go to this prize closet, and how many points you get, you can pick things to get, which is fun, especially on a longer cruise because you had a lot of time to get points. Entertainment, it was a little off sometimes. It was odd, not off, odd sometimes. But that's what you get with a smaller ship.
There was a great ABBA group, dancing group.
Who could that be?
The three of us were up there dancing, and we were getting a lot of compliments.
And videos. You have to be to win trivia in the main area. You had to basically cheat. Other groups had gone online and figured out all the answers, and they had these little groups, so they knew all the answers and questions beforehand, so they just wrote them all down and they won every time. We were actually playing, so that was a little disheartening because we love trivia and we love to win, but we don't like to cheat. So
well, that one lady had been on so many cruises, she knew all the questions, and she would collect the answer sheets at the end.
Yeah.
In case she missed something.
Yeah, so we just avoided that.
We were happy with second place because
Yeah, we figured second was first.
Yeah.
Because our cruise was 11 days and it was a transatlantic. It was an older crowd. I'm not sure the other Azamaras if they were a little bit skewed younger, because most people can't take off 2 weeks to go cruise. But there was a lot of older experienced cruisers. So the first couple of nights were, oh, I've done this cruise, I've done that cruise, I've done this cruise. So it was a little annoying at points. They're, oh, I like region, I like this one, I like that. And but we can hang in there with them if we wanted to, but we chose not to. So
what age group? What age group do you consider? What is that? You're saying old?
Older, 70s.
Okay.
And I would say when we were on our first cruise, I remember them giving us a list of the ages of everybody on board. It was one of the trivia things on one of the daily things. The youngest one we had on board was 6 years old. We had six children. It was an Easter sailing, so there was a lot of kids on board. They don't have a kids club at all, so you rarely ever see any children there. The oldest person on our first sailing was 99.
Oh, wow.
But a big difference when Tanya mentioned the age of people, what I noticed, especially when we did a 9-night Western Caribbean sailing with them before that. And what I noticed is that there was one scooter and one walker on board for 700 people.
That's not a lot.
Exactly. Everybody was very able-bodied and active. When we did Princess, there were so many scooters and walkers, and we thought we were going to die when we were in Boston because everybody was going down with their walkers and scooters down a elevated walkway and then stopping at the bottom to take photos. It looked like it was going to be a disaster, and we never felt like that on Azamara. I do feel like the transatlantic did definitely bring in a little older crowd, but that generally happens with any transatlantic or 14-night. Now Disney is an exception to that because they just naturally attract more families, but I think they even have more non-family on the Disney cruises, but they still skew a little bit younger.
Was it the seas a lot rougher on the smaller ship?
I don't know if it was because of the size of the ship, but the seas were rough on a few days.
Could be the transatlantic.
Time of year, it was Easter time.
The seas were rough coming out of New York, and they always are. I don't care what ship you're on.
Yeah.
And then they were rough after the Azores, between the Azores and Lisbon. It was pretty bad again. In the middle of the ocean, it was like glass. When we went from Bermuda to the Azores, you couldn't even tell. I would say when we were in the Western Caribbean, I did notice it being a little bit rougher. But it wasn't It wasn't horrible. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could be.
I didn't really see it to be that much more than what you'd see on the Magic or the Wonder. The other thing is that when they want to just go into port and dock, it's a much faster process.
Okay.
It's almost like teenage kids getting into the parking spot.
Zip in.
And they're ready. I mean, they're ready to, get you off the ship, and it seems like 20, 25 minutes.
Hmm.
And
That's cool.
it's not the whole big thing, and they definitely don't have to tender anywhere because, tender is just a little smaller.
The cabin size, I didn't find it. It was, on the smaller side, but it wasn't any smaller than most cruise ships. The smallest ones I've ever been on were the one in Hawaii, the Norwegian ship in Hawaii. Those were
Pride of America.
awful. So this one, had a little couch, a little vanity. We split the beds. The bathroom was typical cruise bathroom. Shower sideways, so the shower curtain didn't touch you, but it wasn't anything that scared me or was like, ooh, never going on here again because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the shower, that was probably the biggest negative I took away from it. But other than that, the bathroom was fine other than the shower. The shower was just a little small, and we had hoped when they did the renovation that they would put in shower doors, but there really wasn't a good way to do that in fitting the ship. So it's understandable why they didn't. There really isn't room for them to put a shower door in there.
I would compare it to similar to the Viking Ocean ship, which is a much nicer ship because it's new. But the same type of ship. I mean, I know Tracy likes Azamara because they do trivia. And so, which on an 11-day, we needed trivia. But yeah, it's the same size kind of feel, service-wise and things.
Or the transatlantic crossing, did they have enough to do, especially all your sea days?
I think so.
Yeah, they have games and trivia all the time.
Yeah, they have 3 trivias a day, two trivia and 1 music trivia. And then they have a game usually. I think in the morning we had trivia, and then we had a game right after that.
Yeah, Sudoku and what was the other one?
They had games like board games where they played it with the whole group.
They had Wii contests.
Yeah, and sports contests because they did have a ping pong table and dartboard, and they did some pool games, but I didn't really notice too much of that. So yeah, there was a lot of things, miniature golf and everything that they had, all the activities you could earn points for. So, and then so anything that you did, you'd get them to sign your card, and at the end we could get t-shirts, pens, notepads.
I've got 2.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice rather than getting like Carnival does the ship on a stick if you win it, and other ones do the a pen or a keychain. You can get a keychain if you really want, but otherwise you can save up your points and you can get 20 keychains if you wanted, or you can get one nicer thing. So.
I go again.
The other thing was that we were never late for trivia because you duck out of your room and then 2 minutes later you're there.
Yeah.
The
Smaller
first
ship.
time we were on board, we were close to the midship elevators, and the trivia we were on deck 7. Trivia was on deck 10 in the front of the ship.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the clock and I said, oh, it's 5 to 4. We have trivia in 5 minutes. We're like, we better leave in about 2 or 3 more minutes so we get there on time. And we always did. So
I've gotten to where I enjoy the smaller ships now because, yeah, if you need to go to the bathroom from dinner, you can go to your own bathroom if you want. You're back in 5 minutes. Yeah, remember on the Viking ship, I'd forgotten to take my medicine before we went on an excursion. I said, I'll be right back. Nobody even noticed I was gone. It's the same kind of thing.
yeah, I definitely like the smaller ships for the ease of getting around to places.
And I don't think they still have the casino in the Journey, and it was sort of a waste of space. Yeah, they need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going toward.
Yeah.
So where does, aside from the Caribbean, where does Azamara typically sail, or where do they?
They typically
base their
don't
ship?
go in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Maybe once a year, each ship will eventually make its way here, but they go all over the world. They do a lot more sailing in the Mediterranean, in Northern Europe, but they had a ship in Alaska last year, over in Asia as well, and
They've done South America.
South America, definitely. Yeah, they usually have one go all the way around South America at least once a year, and then get down towards Antarctica as far as some of those. That would be a larger ship going into Antarctica. And yeah, usually only a couple sailings in the Caribbean each year.
I think of them as nomads. They sail from here to there. And
Yeah, that was kind of what I was envisioning. They don't have a set, this week we're doing the Eastern Caribbean, this week we're doing the Western Caribbean. They kind of just go here and there.
Yeah, they'll go from, I've seen them do like a Western Caribbean, go down to San Juan for a couple sailings and then come back to Miami and then cross over, or go through the Panama Canal and then head around the South America. Lots of different options with them. That's probably what initially made me waver between Celebrity and Azamara as my favorites, because I can't always predict that they're going to be where I want to go.
Right.
And so I have to do a little bit more planning with them, though. With Celebrity, if I want to go to Australia, I could pick any of us, 4 or 5 months to go down there.
Right.
If I wanted to go to Europe, I could pick any week to do the same itinerary as it was the last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't always do that with Azamara, but they do go to a lot of places that the others don't go. Any other questions?
No, they sound like sounds like a cruise line to keep in mind.
You could have come with us.
Was the internet included? Or did I-
Yes. No, it's not.
No, it
We
wasn't.
had a
Okay.
package that included it.
That's right. So if I recall, the internet was fine.
Yeah, they have the same internet provider as Royal Caribbean and Celebrity do, so it's a decent one.
Yeah.
I called another cruise line using my Wi-Fi phone while we were crossing the transatlantic and didn't have any problem with that. So any other questions? If not, I'm gonna stop the recording and thank you all for coming. And next week we'll be talking about Toad Gives Back.